All right, interesting lighting. Next installment, pretty sure this is the 20th installment. Next installment, mean, stupid, wrong, YouTube comments. Throw the word weird in there if you want. All right, let's get into it. Beauty of these, I could do it in a parking garage the whole video because I don't need an amazing background for the thumbnail. The words make for a good thumbnail. Anyway, let's go. First one. This was about the video where I went over some recent YouTube income data. That's all you're making with this channel after 3 years of daily content. What a waste of your time. Interesting. Sounds like someone who never applied for a job, never had a job, never earned money, never had to earn money. Your is very interesting because later I said something. It's a very simple way to trick people like this. It makes it sound like I'm implying something when I'm not, and then when they respond, it makes no sense. I said something and he said, "You're assuming a lot." No, I wasn't. He has no idea because his reading comprehension skills are very weak. I wasn't assuming anything what I said to this. But he said to me, "You're assuming a lot." And that's why I highlighted the word "you're" in red. He's making an assumption on what my time is worth. Making money is awesome. Most of my adult life hasn't been that. Most of my adult life has been reading textbooks, and losing money. I had less money when undergrad ended than when it started. I had less money when grad school ended than when it started. I had less money when law school ended than when it started. So having an activity, an income generating activity that actually generates income, awesome. He accused me of assuming things when in fact he was the one who instantly assumed something. Also, he left a few more comments after this just as ridiculous as this one, and then he said something discriminatory towards a certain group. I won't get into the details, but gives you an idea of this type of person. All right, second one. This one was a good one. I say that about once per video. This was about the same video with the YouTube income data. Guy says, you have to factor in that as your channel income has increased, your poker income and abilities have fallen off a cliff. Is the time spent worth it? Okay, first, highlighted poker income and have. Poker income, no idea what needs to go through your mind that you think you need to put a dash between poker and income. Also, when you put the words and abilities in parentheses, I wouldn't. One way to go is to use in a positive and use 2 commas. That's what I would have done, although there are other things that make a lot more sense than parentheses. When you use the parentheses, the next word have relates to poker income and only poker income, not the words in the parentheses. So it's poker income has, because poker income is one thing, singular, not poker income have, which doesn't make sense, but I'll be nice and not mention the other 4 things that made no sense grammatically. The main point, the main reason this one's in the video is that in trying to insult me, this guy actually gave me a huge compliment. For one, before I get into the huge compliment that he doesn't even realize he left, you're gonna say pre-YouTube channel versus during YouTube channel that my poker abilities have fallen off this proverbial cliff. You need to be an expert on me in poker before the birth of the channel. So he's claiming to be an expert on me between late 2004, the first time I ever played for money, right after Moneymaker, and early March 2022. He's claiming to be an expert on me in poker for those 17 and a half years. Of course, there's no way he can be. Also, if he's going to say fallen off a cliff, interesting that he didn't take the stance that other people like this probably take, that I've lost nonstop for decades in a row, and anytime I say I win, I'm lying and I actually lost. He could have taken that stance and just said I was awful in poker for all time. Instead, when he says fallen off a cliff, he's admitting that he thinks I was a great winning player before the channel, and now during the channel I'm awful. But he's like, there's 17 and a half years of me in poker where he's saying he thinks and believes that I was a great winning player. Also, one last thing on this one. Weird that he would leave this comment at all, because I had my best year in terms of volume and my best year in terms of dollars after I started the channel, not before. Third comment is about the steak that Kansas left for me when he drove back to, you guessed it, Kansas. I cooked the steak, I cut it up, steamed it in my rice cooker on top of my rice, This guy says, you likely could have sauteed the steak with some oil in the rice cooker since it reaches the temperatures high enough to boil water. You could have also gone to a local park and grilled it using charcoal or bought a small propane stove. You ruined a good cut of meat. I know these are practical suggestions. Okay. There's more I could get into besides what I highlighted, but I'll just stick to that for now. Couldn't have sauteed the steak. That's the biggest thing in yellow. Yes, the rice cooker will boil water when water is in it. If nothing is in it, it's not a pan on a hot plate. If nothing's in the rice cooker, which I've said before, I turn it on, after 10 seconds, it turns off. It needs liquid in there to do something. So no, would not have sauteed a steak. In the pink, can't imagine a worse use of time than going to a park. First of all, finding what park this needs to be, but then going to a park, on the way there, buying charcoal bricks, there's no chance I use all of them, buying lighter fluid, there's no chance I use all of it, and then cooking one steak, maybe if I had like 50, and then cooking one steak, eating it, and then going back to my room. Massive waste of time, money, and products. So I'm just leaving like 80% of this bottle of lighter fluid in the park. Makes no sense. And then he knows it. He admits that he knows it makes no sense, what he says in red. He knows these are practical suggestions. Reminds me of, there was a scene in a classic Friends episode, the one that they did in real time, when they were going to that event of Ross's, but Monica left a message on Richard's machine. She was worried she didn't sound like casual enough, and she plays it back for all of the friends. And before she plays it back, she says, it's okay, I was breezy. And then she plays it back, and in the message that she left for Richard, at the end, she says, I'm breezy. And Joey says, you can't say that. That negates the breezy. These suggestions this guy left about the steak, not practical in the least. Nothing's going to change that. Had he not said what I highlighted in red, though, I would have thought that he actually believed they were practical. When he feels the need to say, I know these are practical suggestions, he's admitting he knows they're ridiculous. I don't know why he left the comment. I guess just a plea for attention or something. And fourth one, this one wasn't like crazy. You usually give people the benefit of the doubt if I'm like on the fence about whether this was written just to be nuts or not. And it's about the same video. It's about the steak video, and largely like the same idea. Guy says, why not just go get food instead of cooking steak in a rice cooker in your hotel? So I was in my hotel room. I owned the steak. I owned the rice cooker. I owned the rice. I owned the water. And instead, this guy wants me to throw the steak in the garbage, then leave my room, spend time, spend money, and buy food to replace the food that I just wasted that isn't gonna be as good. Probably can't just go out and like find a replacement steak like downstairs in the slot machines in Harrah's, or like in the Walgreens right up the street. Very odd suggestion, not as totally out there as the first three, but that one was very odd. Don't know why so many people wanted me to waste food that already existed and was in my possession and within 15 feet of me, but plenty of people wanted me to do that. So there you go. Installment number 20. Mean, wrong, stupid. Mean, stupid, wrong, some order like that. YouTube comments, and I can't tell the future, but I imagine there will be a 21st installment someday. And remember, rice is a spoon food.